Mr. Jones, the farmer at Manor Farm, soon to be Animal Farm, which we know is an allegory, with the farm representing Soviet Russia and Mr. Jones representing Tsar Nicholas II. There are two images that Orwell paints. The first is one of Mr. Jones being an incapable leader. Mr. Jones is supposed to be the farmer. His job should be to look after his animals and to protect them. As a leader, that's his job. Or to earn money as a capitalist. Capitalists have money and use their money to earn more money. Essentially, it's all about the money. As it happens, Jones can't do either. He's an incompetent leader, which means he doesn't have the skills to look after the animals, and he's also negligent, which means that he can't look after them. In this case, because he's too drunk. He's so drunk that he forgets to close the potholes. The potholes symbolise security. They keep the hens in and the attackers out, and Jones doesn't close them. Some people would say that Jones is similar to Tsar Nicholas II. Under his leadership, Russia ended up being a part of World War I. Like the hens, his people were left unprotected. Like the animals, the proletariat of Russia did not trust their leader, and many began to strike against him. And even when the Tsar sent the army to control them, some of the soldiers refused and even joined the strike. Just like the animals, the people, led by the Bolsheviks, revolted. It was important to Orwell that the readers didn't like Jones, so that we sympathised with the animals. By the end of the first chapter, he wanted us to agree that Jones and his tyrant rule must go. And this shows us that Orwell, who was a socialist, believed in equality, and he thought that the proletariat were right to rebel against their leader. Jones is a tyrant, and he's violent, and that rhymes. We see this when he kicks as he moves around the farm. He gets power by using violence and by intimidating others, and a clear example of this is when the animals are making noise at the end of chapter 1 and he seizes the gun which always stands in the corner of his bedroom. Another tool that Orwell uses is Old Major's speech, which helps us to understand how cruel Mr. Jones is and how he uses this to stay in control. Mr. Jones is actually very weak, but he gains power by using tools of oppression which push the animals down and make them weaker. Orwell lists these tools to emphasise just how many Jones needs. The nose rings, the bits, the dog chains, the reins, the halters, the blinkers, and the nose bags. Perhaps disturbingly, he also uses a knife and he castrates the pigs and lambs. The word lamb is really interesting because it shows how Jones overpowers the animals when they are too small to fight back. He's a bully, but in your exam, it's probably better to call him a tyrant. Jones is also a capitalist. This means he values money and he represents money making. He takes from the animals to make money for himself. He takes the hen's eggs, sells the horse's calves, and slaughters the pigs, who we are told will scream your lives out at the block within a year, and all to make money. The most shocking thing is the way that he treats his dogs. Dogs are a symbol representing man's best friend. They're loyal. But here we're told that when they're old and toothless, they're really vulnerable, Jones will tie a brick around their neck and drown them. And this helps us to understand one thing, that Jones only cares about money. Jones represents moneymakers, capitalists, and he makes them look cruel to show that they don't deserve to be in charge. They are parasitical human beings. Mr. Jones also helps us to understand a big mistake that the animals make. Old Major tells us that man is the only real enemy we have, and it seems true. All of the humans in the book are nasty pieces of work who want to make money from the animals. However, by the end of the novel, Jones has lost all his power. We're told that Jones was dead. He died in an inebriate's home, a drunken home. He can't look after himself or intimidate anyone. He's too weak, but the animals are still suffering.